go. So welcome, I'm Katie Covey. I'm the DRE for the Soul Matters Sharing Circle. And I am going to run the slides and talk about the 10 or more enhancements that we are planning for the RE packets for next year, 2021-22. As an opening, I'd like to read from Lifting Our Voices, just a bit, by Susan York. Give us the child who lives within. Give us a child's eyes that we may receive the beauty and freshness of this day, like a sunrise. And so we enter the promise of spring. So welcome, everyone. I'm going to start some slides to take us through our 10 enhancements. There we go. And it would be great if you could mute yourself. It looks like it might be Beth. Hi, dear. Thank you. So we have 10 coming up. Thanks for your feedback and your help. Oh, and I started on number 4 and 5. Ding, ding, ding. There we go. Okay. You can always see these on our website. And here's what it looks like, the what's new part of our website. And it goes into multi-platform church support, decentering whiteness, small groups. And here's what we're talking about today, the religious education. Hey, Beth, can you mute yourself, please?
Absolutely.
So that's what we're going to talk about. Then you might notice that we have our themes for next year. Now, what you noticed about our themes, I'm sure if you've been on the web page, is that we've changed our shift just a little bit. It used to be that we were generally calling ourselves to as a certain people. What does it mean to be a people of imagination? What does it mean to be a people of story, which we just finished? What does it mean to be a people of play, which will be next month? Moving forward, what we're thinking of doing, what we are doing, is what our times specifically call to us as religious people. And so you see phrases. We're going to respond to the call of our times by embracing possibility, by cultivating relationship, by holding history in November, by opening to joy, by living with intention. We're going to respond to the call of our times by widening the circle, by renewing faith, by awakening, by nurturing beauty, and by celebrating blessings. So let's go on to our enhancements that we're going to be implementing for all of our packets. And guess what? These were developed because you filled out our survey, gave us our feedback, and helped us craft these packets even better. And we're really excited about it. So the first thing that we're going to do to enhance the RE packets is shift from last year's online resources to in-person and online together. As you know, this multi-platform approach is going to be the new normal. We're moving forward in a different way. I don't think you can say we're going back to the traditional way of doing things. And in Soul Matters, that means that one packet that comes to you, the core packet, is going to be both online and in person. Because as I talk to DREs, we're all wondering what's September going to be like, and no one knows. And some people, the board is saying, well, you have to craft a program. And they're asking me, well, do I have to buy online and then buy an in-person packet? No, we're going to do them both for that core subscription. And not only is it for our core packets, it's for all of our packets. The core packets, which is the little ones and the 2nd through 5th grade, Crossing Paths for middle school, the interfaith one, Soulful Home and Chalice Home, our family-oriented packets, and the On the Road youth group packet. Let me just admit a few more people. There we go.
That is the best picture for multi-platform. Where did you find that picture?
Thank you, Liza. Just scrolling around, it's Unsplash, my favorite free picture place. Yeah, I want that. I want that. Okay, so then we're going to increase our AROMAC resources. AROMAC means anti-racist, anti-oppression, and multicultural resources. We have created a team, and one of our members is on, and maybe another one. April Rosario is one of our members. We have created a Widening the Circle research team to create practical resources for our packets. If you have been reading Widening the Circle of Concern, or if you haven't, which some of us are just finding the time to exist, thank you very much. Soul Matters is going to be providing you with practical resources thanks to this research team. It's a new model we're trying, and so far it's really exciting. We've got 4 members of that team. So that's our number 2 enhancement. Number 3 enhancement is we're going to increase those AROMAC resources. So as you may know, last year, we had one dedicated anti-racism session. What we're being told by the AROMAC leaders now is that as we mature into this journey towards wholeness, we'd like to have the resources integrated rather than one session on anti-racism. So we are going to be integrating those resources. In addition, we will have some strategic full AROMAC sessions. The 4th RE enhancement, let me just get there, she's in, is that we're going to have a direct focus on the spiritual needs of BIPOC children and families. BIPOC means Black, Indigenous, and people of color. And now here's another way that we are understanding is that before we were saying, okay, we understand that a lot of us have a need to understand what white supremacy is. Let me just get to my notes. And we were focused on an awareness of those white supremacy systems. We're helping white UUs become better allies. This coming year, we want to increase the material and resources that are centered on our needs of people of color. That is where the Widening of Circle research team will be integral. We need your understanding and help because we are finding out just now what kinds of resources we want to put in here. Number 5, we're going to increase the amount of wisdom tales. This was right from the survey. Everybody wanted more wisdom tales and more time for all ages suggestions. So these will be including tales that are told rather than books that are read. And as a little postscript to this slide, I'll let you know that we are in conversation with our commissioned songwriter, Leah Morris, and hopefully she will be doing some work for us in terms of some tale telling and some songs that are going to be jointly together. It's happening as we speak. So it's just a postscript at this point. I can't make a formal announcement. Number 6. So this is another piece of that Time for All Ages expansion. We're going to enhance those resources so that's not just picture books, it's not just wisdom tales, but it's also ways to get a point or a lesson across that's not a tale. I've seen science demonstrations by the local archaeologist. I've seen musical moments by the harp player. Of course, we have seen skits up there. A lot of us have used the Wonderbox object lessons as Time for All Ages and guest star visits. So we're going to keep that expanding, because as we found out online on those Zoom services, it's a time when we can expand and do things truly for all ages, because maybe there's no children in the room on that Zoom meeting, or they're sitting over across the room on their parents' sofa. We're going to continue to refine our meditation resources. Right at the end of the packets this year, I came across a meditative story type of meditation, and something that was written up in an NPR article, something that a group of people are doing. And it's very powerful. We found it very powerful from those of you who tried it. So we're going to keep that going. And we're going to also, as always, increase our body-based movement for the children. We're going to make sure our little one's packet is age appropriate and pre-K to first grade. My first degree was on early childhood education. It's one of my loves. And I have to admit, as we moved to online, it got a little bit not age appropriate. It got a little older, and I tried my hardest, but I will do better this year. Number 9 is we are looking for adding an additional staff person to help with the design of our youth packets. This would be a consistent, dependable thought partner and resource collector to meet with me. So if you know of anyone, some rock star youth advisor, let me know. Shoot me an email at soulmattersre@gmail.com. We're going to expand our Crossing Paths lineup as promised. Last year we added paganism and everyone gave us a big heads, yay. And this year we're adding humanism. As I mentioned before, it will be multi-platform, so you can offer it online and in person. And the exciting news coming out is that as 12 to 17-year-olds can receive the vaccine, we're starting to be able to imagine an all-on-person Crossing Paths for our middle schoolers. But how nice it was to interview the rabbi by Zoom. So you see how that multi-platform can take us forward into new things. That's number 10. So I'm wondering if we have 11. So just as we were creating these slides, another one came up. We had some references that Soulful Home was being used by our smaller congregations, and it would be helpful, please, if it came out 1 month in advance instead of just half a month in advance. So guess what? It's going to come out 1 month in advance. And then, of course, Teresa and I were talking, and I'm thinking, oh, how are people using Chalice Home? Well, indeed, we got feedback that said some people are using Chalice Home, those 2 worships, as their children's chapel for their RE program. And so I would love to know how you're using Chalice Home. And if you're using it programmatically, let me know and we can consider moving that deadline around a little bit. Does anyone have any other ideas for other RE enhancements, things you would love to see?
Katie, I would love to see chalice lighting that's appropriate for the youngers, littles, and what I call middles, like, the elementary ages, that align with the monthly theme. It could even just be one a month that we use for all the Sundays in that month. But something new each time, because I feel like I'm always searching and sometimes adapting adult versions to the younger. So that would be great.
All right, thank you. Chalice lightings for the little guys and the elementary. Thank you for that feedback. We will certainly put that in the hopper. Other things.
Katie, what we've been doing with that chalice lighting is each class has their own chalice lighting that they memorize. And what we're finding is then if they have the same chalice lighting all year, it's just a different take on this. If they have the same chalice lighting all year, then we find that I think it was by October, then families were telling us, oh yeah, Clark led the chalice lighting at home on Sunday night, and because he's learned the new chalice lighting at Chalice Kids, his class. So when you start getting those reports of that repetition, helping those kids learn a basic chalice lighting, that's really helpful too.
Yes, I mean, and I did that as well, to this quiet place of beauty. We come from busy things, pausing for a moment for the thoughts that quiet brings. Those things that we learn by heart then become in our hearts. So yes, that's part of the balance, isn't it?
It is part of the balance. When my kids were little, and I mean, they're now in their late 20s, one of the things that they found is the love is the spirit of this house and service is its law. When anybody asked them about their faith, like on the bus at school, and it made them nervous, that was the thing that came up, because no one can bicker about love.
That's right. That's right. All right. Yes.
It's so much. It seems like you've just put out a huge buffet and now you're asking what else we want to eat. But since you asked, I don't know if you have included in the multi-platform resources. I know that a lot of congregations have started to do some hands-on distribution of materials. I'm thinking of your clever adaptation of the Magic 8-Ball resource, and how we could print it out. And so I didn't know if there was that already incorporated each month or where that might be.
And that's, again, the balance, because for some smaller congregations, a packet is wonderful. For the larger ones where you're sending out to 150 children, it's a little overwhelming. So yes, but yes, we know a lot of you are doing it. It's a balance act, but yes, welcome to the buffet, Liza.
And I haven't done much with Soulful Home or Chalice Home. Basically, it sounds like Chalice Home is an at-home sort of family-friendly worship, and Soulful Home is activities, a menu of things to consider doing during the month, right? Conversation prompts and things like that. Okay.
Right. Yes. So what you're already doing, making that part of your spiritual life, is Soulful Home. An add-on of like the Hindu shrine, like the Buddhist temple, like the Chalice Home, an add-on worship that highlights something. And there's 2 per month in Chalice Home. Bringing church into the home. Yeah.
Katie, I could add that I used Chalice Home last summer, and we started at the beginning and did one every week throughout the summer. So by the end of the summer, when we went into our Soul Matters curriculum, they had set up a nice chalice, altar at their homes ready to use each Sunday.
Oh,
Yeah, and then we really didn't add much to it throughout the year, but that was a great way to get them pulled together and started. And I will say that I do use, each of our groups has a chalice lighting that they know and use as you're referring to, but I find like that repetition is almost too much. Like I want a little bit of variation. So like I said, if I could vary the one that I use with one for the monthly theme, I think that would be ideal personally.
Mm-hmm.
And then I don't know what these lovely chalice lightings are that you all have memorized. And so maybe a resource list of some of those classic tried and true children's chalice lightings. Because I tried, Googling on the worship web, and there aren't very many children or little children ones.
That's
Tell
a
you
great
what,
I think a
idea.
lot of them
Yeah.
are through Tapestry of Faith is where I pulled them from, different curricula and Tapestry of Faith.
And
Good
I'll start a crowdsourcing Google Doc for that too. All right, good ideas, you folks. Looks like some things are happening on the chat too. All right, there's our 10 new enhancements. So if you came on late and you want to revisit these slides, we're going to post the slides. And of course, there's the whole What's New page, which reviews this as well. It's going to be in two places. One is our members page, and you may come in. There it is at our top. This goes through all of our resources for you guys. That's our members page. And it also is going to be posted on the What's New page. Of course, obviously it isn't there yet, but there's some general What's New small groups, and there's the religious education where we went through all of these things as well. And it will be posted on that one too. And as always, as you know, Soul Matters has very many wide and deep resources. My goodness, sometimes I can't even keep track of them. So don't feel shy to contact me with help discerning this, just like we were talking about what's the difference between Chalice Home and Soulful Home. What's included in the core packets, all these things. I'm glad to talk to you about them. Let me just stop sharing. There we go. Look at this wonderful pack of people. I'm so glad that you were able to attend. Oh my goodness. And I wonder if you have any more questions before I do the readings.
I have a question with the which I support, with the movement to more wisdom tales and storytelling. One of the things that I think becomes uncomfortable for people who aren't comfortable with storytelling, which is some of our leaders, is help for them to learn how to storytell as opposed to read the story. And so I'd be curious just if any of you have, I mean, I have, I can't just hand them the Telling the Tale book and tell them to read it. Have any of you done sessions with your RE facilitators where maybe you've sat down and done it as part of your training? And if you do you have anything that you'd be willing to share? That I'd be curious, and if anybody wants to, because I'm going to do something like that, and I just thought if I don't have to reinvent the wheel. So A Good Telling, that's the book I'm thinking about. I was going to base it on, something from A Good Telling. We don't have anybody who's trained in spirit play in my congregation anymore. I haven't been trained in spirit play. And when we were moving, I found 2 huge Rubbermaid totes full of spirit play resources in
Sure.
Ziploc bags, and from 2 religious educators ago. And I've been told that the leaders didn't want to do those things anymore because they weren't comfortable. This is a new congregation I'm in. So anyways, anybody has anything?
Yep. Maybe that could go in the chat for Jenny too. Cool, you guys. Any other questions? Comments? Yeah, there we go.
Hey, Katie, I popped into the
Oh,
chat
mhm.
about our religious ed program starts as close to August 1st as it can because our public schools come in. And so it's always a challenge to get the really the startup stuff for September. So we try to push it forward and it kind of doesn't click. Any advice on that for congregations that start up in August?
Well, one came up on this recording, which is to use the Chalice Home possibility.
Right.
The other would be to use some of the play, extend play through the summer. That's what several people are doing. Another one would be to go to our resources and buy an individual packet.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. That
Yeah.
I'll do for this year.
Yeah.
I just didn't know if it was a flexible thing and if there was any way to even get 2 weeks of August. But you know, the calendar is set for September through June. The other thing I've looked at is taking June and wrapping it into August,
Yeah.
shifting the June curricula.
I've heard of some people doing that. And as always, it's like Legos, build it the way you want.
Build it, yeah. Okay, thanks.
Yeah. Someday Legos is going to hear us say that and they're going to be like, you're breaking copyright or something. I don't know. Any other good comments, suggestions, questions? What's new for next year?
I saw a question about integrating spirit play skills into the little kids classes. And we do that now. We'll take the story and kind of, you know, they were talking about finding the Ziploc bags of this other stories from spirit play. We will take the current lesson or class for the little kids story, and we'll put together a spirit play lesson. And honestly, I wish there were more spirit play trainings. It really is wonderful work for, and it does integrate nicely with the stories we tell. And you can even use spirit play for meditation.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Really successful with our little kiddos.
Yep. Yep. It's all good. We have all these good resources floating around. Okay, we'll take a deep breath and share with you this closing by Matt Meyer. May we go forward in purposeful rhythm, that we may give voice to the melody of our imaginations, the music of our souls, and all the possibilities of a just world as we might together create it. Go in peace, everyone. Thank you.